when you think through your first child's, as a young boy, a child, and then a boy, and a teenager, and then a man, and so forth, what are your memories of Michael?
Computer. He is. It seemed like he was very strongly focused in that area. And, you know, he never knew what he wants to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But he was doing it all the time. And he knew what he was doing. But he wasn't sure what he was going to do. It was kind of interesting.
And so how would you describe Michael as a child or young man, or, you know, like...
Focused on doing whatever he felt was beneficial.
Like what?
What?
Like what?
Money. He did a little bit of building, putting things together a little bit here and there. And eventually, as a young man, he thought it'd be a good idea. Well, I kept saying, we're going to sell the house, we're going to sell the house, Beverly, we're going to sell the house, we're going to sell the house. So maybe we should look for a house for you. And so it turned out that we were going to sell the house, and we did sell the house. I had cash in the bank, and Michael said, okay, let's go. I found a foreclosure unit, and it was already bid in. So you can't buy it at that price. You have to raise it, I don't know, 5%, whatever it was. So we went to court. And I guess nobody expected it to be overbid. We overbid. Had the cash. I had just sold our house, so that's why I knew I had the cash, and that's why I know the house was sold, because that's what it was. So I overbid, and we got it. And Michael is living there to this day, from thence. And real nice. Sorry I didn't buy one down the street. Yeah, were you aware what just recently happened at all?
No.
Well, I think we got about 150 or something like that. And I loaned him the money at first, but he turned around and paid me off real quick. I'm glad I had it, and I'm glad he responded. But down the street from him, there was a house went for $250, and I didn't know about it until after it was sold. So I was kind of irritated in the sense that I would have bought it down there. Right. Down the street. Not so much to be close to Michael, but I like the area. It was great. I thought it'd be a good place to be.
Right.
He has just received, Michael, do you know this? He received a letter with an escrow, 16-page escrow, written with a check and the whole thing, that we'll buy your house for cash. Just sign this thing and you've sold your house. And the price? $1,100,000. Viv practically fell off the chair. It's 1,000 square feet.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand, and you may not understand.
Location.
The land is very expensive.
And the house is
they'll tear it down, leave one stick.
Of course.
And the one stick will mean that we're just rebuilding here. Yeah. We're just repairing stuff here.
Did that right on the block. It's happened a number of times.
Yeah, but never that kind of money. I mean,
I think it's fantastic location. UCLA, West LA, the beach. I mean, the new train. It's perfect.
The new what?
The new train.
Oh, yeah.
Mike never told you about the train?
Well, I know the train from one end to the other. I've got pictures. That
was a joke. That was better.
Well, you know that too? Do you know that?
I've talked to Michael, and if you talk to Michael, you talk to him about the train, don't you?
You remember the movie? The plane. With Michael, it's the train.
Okay. So, and once Michael is there, and I think in the last 20 years, of all your children, probably talk to Michael the most. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. No question about it.
So tell us about that.
Well, I talked to Michael because my machine went down and he corrects it. And then it goes down and corrects it. He can go into it from where he lives. He goes into the computer and he straightens it out for me.
Yeah.
That's a blessing and also a problem.
Sure.
The problem is that I'm restricted in what I can do with it. probably to save me from getting hacked.
Right.
But on the other hand, I could have, whatever, it didn't work. I didn't do it. I didn't learn anything about it.
Right.
And especially when I have somebody as capable as he is to straighten it out, I went his direction.
Right.
Because Howard doesn't feel that that's the best direction. He can't come in and do anything with it because it's Michael's system.
Yeah.
So I'm torn there a little bit.
Sure. But you, because of that, you've been in close contact with him.
Oh yeah.
For many years.
Oh yeah.
More than anybody.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. I would say second. He's second. Not second in my heart, but second in contact.
I'm talking about the kids only.
Oh, okay. He's first. Yeah.
Right. In terms of the frequency of contact.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, yeah. Now let's take Howard.
Yep.
Remember?
Never forget Howard. One particular one, I think we have it on tape somewhere, one of the films, where he's 4 years old, 5 years old, somewhere like that, in a short, brief, not a skirt, what do you call it?
Shorts.
Well, shorts, yeah, okay, shorts. And I'm not sure what was on his feet, but he's marching. He's marching. On his head is a plastic dish, not a dish, but a pot. And he's marching in. And of course, he's the famous one who comes, when I had this little gadget that had little plastic things you have on the ends of arrows that you throw and they stick.
Right.
Well, this little gadget had 3 or 4 feet with those little stickers on the end, and you push it up against the wall and you wind it up and it walks up the wall. And it's an Orby, O-R-B-Y, and it's going up the wall. And there, Howard, the first time he said, "Oh, look at the little Herbie go up the wall." And from then on, that was it.
So
I thought that was neat.
you remember Howard as a young boy, and then a boy, and then a teenager, and
Well, yeah, he, as a youngster, he played with his younger brother. They played baseball. And one of them was a shortstop, and one was a second baseman, I think. That's how they laid out. And because his name is Stein, and I'm pretty sure it was him and not his younger brother. But here he comes with his friend. Oh, here comes Frankenstein. Frank was the friend's name, and Stein was his name, and so people would yell it out loud like that.
right.
They did pretty well, the baseball, I think.
Okay.
Won a little bit.
Right. And then Howard was playing golf. He got into golf a lot.
Yeah.
And then you started doing the stock market together. Tell us about that.
Well, I think I was involved with the stock market long before you were born.
Right.
And I was involved with a person named Minerva. You know that name at all?
Yeah, I heard the name.
Yeah, well, I was on the phone with her for hours at a time. How I ever made the connection or why she even bothered with me, but she started laying out certain ways that you look at the market. And I was too young to even understand it very much, but I listened and listened and listened and thought maybe I'd learn something. So maybe by now I know a little bit about it, but it was a fascinating study because the movement of prices is so related to certain psychological things that are right there on the price and in the chart. And certain lines come together and they say, this is where it's going to turn. And the nice thing about it is if you're right and it turns from here to here, that's fine if you've purchased here. If it turns from here to here, you know you got to get out. You can't fall in love. And oh, I'm right. I know my stuff is good. It's fine. All the way down to there. Mm-hmm. So that takes a tremendous amount of self-discipline to know what's right and what's wrong and just follow through it that way.
Right.
Anyway, the market was fun. I enjoyed the market, including right now today. I like to see that you can look at it and you can say, this is a pattern I've seen so many times, and it'll probably go like this. And if I had a bet on it, I'd bet this way. And if I'm wrong, it's going to turn. And if it turns, I'm wrong, out. The key, you got to know that, out. elevator. Push the button and the elevator's supposed to go to the 4th floor and it starts down. It's time to get out.
Right.
And people don't understand that. They'll go all the way down the basement with it. And then later look around and say, what happened? I know I'm right. I had a customer just like that. I was a real estate, a stockbroker, actually a commodity broker. And the guy knew he was right. He put down $30,000, and I know that this is I don't remember exactly which one it was, whether it's the beans, the pork bellies, or some other item, but he had it in there, and he knew, no question, he knew what it was, and he knew he was right. So I said, when the margin call came, because it wasn't going his way, I said, our people have suggested maybe they just lighten up. In other words, they want him out, but I mean, for his own benefit. Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. I know what I'm doing. Well, eventually, I had to call him. I'd say, look, either you bring in more dollars or you're out of here.
Right.
So he didn't bring in more dollars, and he lost the whole 30 grand, whatever it was. It seemed like it's pretty quick, too. But he knew what he was right. They don't know what they're doing. So he knew what he was doing. He knew how to lose $30,000.
Right.
It was interesting to see because it shows you what can happen when you know. It's like the current president. He knows what he's doing.
When you were working with Howard, how did that work out? You were working the stock?
Yeah, we were both brokers. And
where was that? At Shearson or where?
Yeah, Shearson Hamel. You got it. Even the boss came through. I forget what his name was at this moment. Sandy Weil. You know the name. So he would come through, smoke a cigar, and I said, gee whiz, that doesn't look like a good idea. I wasn't a smoker, never have been, so not my cigarettes anyway.
So how'd you get on with Howard during that time?
I got home fine with Howard. We weren't dynamic, and I don't think Howard really liked it, doing that. I mean, he was fascinated by the market to some extent, but I don't think he liked the cold calling or anything like that. You know, that's what that business needs. You need to dial and smile and dial and smile and dial and smile and dial.
Okay.
There's a movie that way about a guy that does that.
So you then ended up leaving there, and then, but you now talked about.
It was nice, by the way, where I worked Shearson Hamel. I could walk from there home back and forth.
And then you see Howard once or twice a year, talk to him on the phone.
Yeah.
How would you describe him, and how is that?
I think he's a very nice guy. He always has been.
Yeah.
Very, very good personality. Mm-hmm. Soft and deliberately being kind.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Then we go to Jimmy. And how do you remember him as a little baby?
Well, you know him pretty well.
Yeah, maybe. some moments.
Yeah. I know that Jim, when he was younger, at the table, he stuttered. And he couldn't come up with a concept. He couldn't say what he was trying to say. And with all the hubbub of all the rest of the kids, I had to put my foot down and say, whoa, we're not going to do it. We're going to stop here, and we're going to all be quiet, and we're going to let Jim talk. And he would be able to come out of the stutter and talk a little bit better. And we did that constantly for a long time before it was not necessary to do that. And I felt very comfortable with the prognosis and also the solution to it. But when you can't get a word in edgewise and something was going wrong, it just gets worse and worse unless you just sit back and relax with it. Mm. That's what we did. And Jim grew up and was a very interesting guy because he's a loner and in some sense and a dynamic guy. And when he was going to do something, he's going to do it. And he left home, and it was kind of scary. Your mom and I talked about it quite a bit. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And call the police. Well, I didn't want to do it too quick. because I think he's pretty self-capable, self-sufficient. So we didn't call the police. And pretty soon the call came in, and I said, "How you doing? I'm glad you called, to say the least." I said, "Where are you?" "I think you're in Oregon."
Spokane, Washington.
Spokane, Washington. Okay, close. I said, "Well, how are things going?" "Oh, pretty good." Why don't we come down and see you? We just happen to be going by that way." I couldn't get in the van quick enough, and your mom and I rip and zip, we went up to see if he's still Jim Stein, my son, our son.
Right.
And we did, and he seemed okay and everything else. And eventually we drove back, and we heard his stories on the road, how scary as heck, the things that he did on the road, because he did a lot of this. And it wasn't always pleasant, from what I gather. Most of the time it worked out pretty well. Mm-hmm. So, and he grew into manhood, and found a very, very nice, he started a business, and in that business he found a lovely lady that he married. And we had, who was it who helped with the wedding? I get the feeling it was Joe DiMaggio, but am I thinking elsewhere? That was
somebody else. Yeah.
That was. No, I know who it was. I know it was Kathy.
Right.
Kathy DiMaggio, and we were invited.
Right.
But that's another story.
Yeah.
But anyway, you started a business. Jim did, and your hand is coming across the lens, which may be better. Do you want to listen? Yeah, that'd be a good idea to hold that.
Stop for just a second.